Hi everyone, how are you guys doing today? Yeah. Okay, we've got an active crowd. Oh. Okay, so a couple of things before I get started. I will be pressing this. If anyone doesn't hear me when I'm speaking, please just be like, Mayo, the mic. Okay? Got it? Secondly, I forgot my glasses in a whole nother town. So if I'm squinting or putting my phone really close to my face, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on my screen. Cool? Yeah. Amazing. Now I'm here with some incredible people. I guess I'll introduce myself first before I get them to introduce themselves. So my name is Mayo, or Kowia Ajimebi. I am the founder of the Lady Powerhouse. I'm a facilitator. I'm a conversational host, which means I don't like to stand up in front of you and just talk, but I like to speak to people and navigate conversations. So that's why I'm here today. And I would love for you all to introduce yourselves, but I know we like to be humble, but let's sugarcoat it. You guys are doing incredible things. Don't hide anything. Tell us you win awards. Tell us you're doing incredible stuff. So we'll go down the line, and then I also want you to tell me what creative power means to you.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Awesome. Hello. My name is Obinna. I am founder of Info Studios. I'm an information designer and creative technologist. What that basically means is that I'm a nerd for a living, and I work with a bunch of scientists and turn their data into something that we can actually understand. It's a lovely job that I'm privileged to be part of. My background's in advertising, so I worked there for 5 years as an award-winning advertiser. There you go. And I get to apply that advertising knowledge to my love of data and learning facts about the world. I've worked with astrophysicists, I've worked with oceanographers. It's a great time, and I don't know half of what everyone's saying, but we smile and we wave nonetheless. But yeah, that's me.
Amazing.
Oh, creative power, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. Creative power, I think it's about using your lived experience and using your background in order to inform a future that you don't quite understand.
Amazing.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Oh, technicals. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, I'll speak loud anyway. So I'm Ju. I'm the founder of DBJ Studio, which is a branding studio. So in a nutshell, I basically build brands for businesses, from small businesses all the way up to large businesses. I also run a program called Branding 101, which is basically a program that was created to educate Black female founders on the fundamentals of branding, because a lot of people think they know what branding is, but actually don't really have a clue. So we're sponsored by Sky for that program. We have just finished our 3rd cohort and going to be starting our 4th in January, which is really exciting. And yeah, I just love all things design. I love, bringing ideas to life. And yeah, for me, what was it? Creative power. For me, creative power is all about bringing your authenticity into what you do. I think when you're authentic, you actually get the true you that no one else can replicate. So I think if you mix creativity with authenticity, you get creative power.
Nice.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Fantastic. My name is Tito. I'm the founder of Nourishment. Nourishment is a community and a cultural marketing agency. Our mission is to connect British arts and cultural institutions with diverse audiences and communities. Essentially, that looks like us doing events that bring people together to enjoy just the expression of creativity and connection in mediums that are changing format, whether it's open mics, poetry, music, sports days, whatever. Like, we do a lot. We also do content that tries to attract attention to theatres, museums, art galleries, so on and so forth, by amplifying diverse stories and diverse narratives. And we also consult with arts and culture institutions. So we work closely with Somerset House, the V&A East Museum that's opening next year as well. It's crazy. And just a bunch of other organizations to make sure that they're actually able to get young people, diverse young people, to step through their doors Beyond that, I also write poetry. I yap, as everyone has suffered because of my yapping already so far. And I like to go out. They call me Mr. Outside. Genuinely. And in terms of what creative power means to me, I was thinking about the question, so thank you for putting me lost, because I wouldn't have been able to answer first. I think being serious, when you look at the world as it is right now, like in the UK, we have fascism on the rise, we have it feels like there's dark clouds around the globe. And I think your responsibility as a creative, or just as an entrepreneur, or as a person, as a human being on the fundamental level, is to use your unique abilities and talents to say something meaningful. And whether it's through the medium of business or through your creativity, I interpret creative power as letting your art be dangerous and using it to disrupt or inform or challenge or express something that needs to be said. That becoming part of your legacy. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Thank you for introducing yourselves. So I'm gonna go back to you, Obinna. The work that you do is shifting perceptions, you know, of something that quite a lot of people might think is boring, right? So how do you ensure that through your processes and how you deliver your work, that you are incorporating creativity and also keeping it true to you, yourself authentically?
I would say, so like, okay, I'll give you an example, right? So I teach kids robotics. It's one of the things that we do as an organization. We support charities to help teach kids in primary school, secondary school, robotics to get them interested in technology. And your average child, when you tell them, hey, STEM, you guys, you want to go? They look at you like, huh? Which one is STEM? And then they'll be like, oh, no, okay. So look at this, press this button, they press it. And then they hear a robot go, they're like, ah! And my goal in all of my work is to get that reaction. The childlike wonder. And it exists in every single person because everyone has a want of learning. Everyone has an intrinsic need to learn and just see the world in a different way. And I tap into that with my work. And that's how I do it with kids. We're doing it with Fortune 500. It's about what is your wow moment? What is your big thing? I was working with this cruise company and they take people on cruises from the south of Norway to the Arctic Circle. It's a mad thing. Can you imagine? You can go and see polar bear anyhow. And I was just like, wait, why aren't you guys doing something with this? What's going on? And so we ended up working together, and I ended up working with a physicist to go up and track the northern lights, and we created this big exhibition with Samsung. And the people that came to it, they were teachers, they were parents, they were moms, they were kids. All of a sudden, this company struggled to reach its audience. All of a sudden, they realized, oh no, we need to celebrate the science and wonder of the world, and that's what will make people come and work with us. And so I think that is how I do it. That's how I use my creativity. I tap into my childhood wonder of just learning about the world, about my nerdiness, that thing that instead of going out and kissing girls, I was on Wikipedia. And that's what I was doing. And I go into other stuff later. So, but that's the point, right? You tap into who you are and what brings you, what made you go into that practice. I also find the word creativity quite hard for me because my background's in economics and statistics. So very much math, very much. I write papers. I worked in government policy for a while, so I was working with a lot of economists. Very, very smart people. But your average Bob is not going to read a 47-page paper about monetary policy. That ain't going to happen. But I'm lucky in that I'm able to tap into that part of me that likes this stuff, but also likes to communicate and create wonder with an audience. And yeah, that's how I end up doing my job.
Amazing. I was going to ask follow-up questions, and every time you just suddenly answered them.
Oh.
No, it's great. So I'm going to move over to Ju next. You actually, you change perceptions through your work as well, as a brand designer, right? How would you say you have successfully been able to change perceptions through your style of creative work?
So I think for me, because my whole business is about creating brands that will be unforgettable, brands that are memorable, brands that actually connect emotionally, the whole business that I do is based around changing perception all day, every day. That's all I do. If I haven't changed perception, I haven't done my job, basically. Because there are certain ways that industries operate, or things that people are used to, or certain colors that resonate with certain things. And my job is to make you stand out while still making that connect, basically. So for me, changing perception is always going to be something that I have to do. In terms of how I do it, it depends on the brand that I'm speaking about, right? Because every single company is going to have its own mission, its own vision, its own values. But beyond the design side of things, it's also important for us to look at the strategy, which is also where I come in. Because I think a lot of founders at the moment, especially when they first start, they just say, okay, I need a logo, cool, great. But the problem is that if that logo doesn't mean anything to anyone, if it doesn't tell a story, if your business doesn't have a heart that people can actually tap into, you're going to blend in, right? So I think, my whole business is about changing perception. I literally do it every day. But if we're going to talk about one of the most effective times that I've done it, I'd probably say through my program that I created. Because I think already, when you look at the statistics, for some reason, black people are the most entrepreneurial, but we're also the least likely to own a business and have it be successful, right? As a black person, I don't like those stats, first and foremost. And I think also as founders as well, when you're starting something new, there's this idea that you have to show up looking new, or like you have to look rough almost. And I just don't believe that. I believe that everybody should be able to stand up and show up with the same value that they know that they have. And I think, through my work, I've just been able to, change those perceptions, and my clients are happy. So, can't complain.
What you can ask for, yes.
I am also a very happy client. I must say, her work is impeccable. You were talking about Branding 101, and it really makes me think about community, which perfectly moved me to Tito. I must say, guys, we didn't plan that these questions would connect so smoothly, but they're doing a great job in helping me do mine. So, community, Tito, that's what you do, right? You're building community. What role has creativity played in you building the community that you do?
Creativity is integral to how I feel like I've gone around building community. I would say picture it like this. So as part of my business, what we do often is building experiences. So we do both experiential marketing. I'm looking at everybody. We do both experiential marketing, but we also do community-centered events. So it might look like one day we're working with, it's like what we did recently. We worked at the Photographers Gallery, which is in Oxford Street. They're really nice. They had an exhibition on someone called Dennis Morris, who was the photographer for Bob Marley. Yeah. So you tapped in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good exhibition. Also, I saw the work you did, the one in the Arctic.
Okay, cool.
It was beautiful work. I remember seeing that campaign. But so the Photographers Gallery hit us up and they said what we're struggling with is getting this work is so cool, it's so black, it's so timeless, it's so intergenerational, but it's not resonating with the young people that it needs to. So we designed an experience where we got a radio collective from South London called Home Radio, and they really into stories and black British heritage. Then we also got, we hit up loads of different up-and-coming photographers and more established photographers from our own community, a lot of people that have been coming to my events and just beyond, as well as like putting the call out on TikTok and so on and so forth to bring together people that would never have seen this exhibition, but to all come to the space. And then we also got Dennis to come down and do a guided tour of his work. So that experiential marketing basically became a community-centered sort of powered explosion where we had all these incredible photographers speaking directly with a man who photographed Bob Marley and like was giving like face-to-face insights as to, oh yeah, Bob, yeah, I just told him to pose like that. When you're speaking to the next generation of talent, photographing at Recess and No Signal and Nourishment and Pick Up the Mic, etc. What's my point? My point is that my approach in terms of creativity is thinking about ecosystems. I try and blend different segments of what the culture feels like right now, whether it's upcoming talent, whether it's OGs and elders who have something to say, whether it's the musical elements, the design elements, whether it's the just the politics of right now as well. And I think community It's just about like bringing together and blending together all what enriches the fabric of what we have here. And this is a beautiful example of community as well. So hopefully that makes sense. But it's about thinking broader about what you're trying to all weave together to sustain community.
Amazing, amazing. Even I think I'd like to add, because I'm a community builder as well, and I've always thought that collaboration is one of the purest forms of creativity in itself. And even just looking at each of your stories and everything you shared today, you've worked with so many different people to express a form of creativity. And the process has been creative in itself. And I can imagine that so many of you in this room have done the same things. We actually can't do anything alone. And so being able to, I guess, understand our roles in that collaboration and how we bring creativity to the table and what creativity we bring to the table is really important. So I would like to ask you guys, and you can answer in whatever order you like, whoever wants to go first. How can individual acts of creativity positively impact the Black community?
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh. So I think everybody has their superpower, right? I know it sounds cliche, but everybody has their superpower and everyone is creative in their own way. And I think even this is a perfect example of how when individuals come together, you know, and bring their creativity together, that you can create something that's valuable and meaningful to the Black community. I think every single one of us in this room will have someone else in this room that you can collaborate with and create some greatness, even if you don't know it yet, right? So I think for me, I think it's all about identifying your own creativity, being authentic in that, because no one can replicate what you do as the way that you do it. So I think once you've identified that, and then you find areas where maybe someone excels in something that you don't, or where you can add to what they already have, I just think only greatness can come out of that. I mean, if everybody has the same central goal, look at us now, we're all learning, we're all, you know, here, so yeah.
Yeah.
I would just add saying, drop your pride. That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Pride gets in the way of creativity, gets in the way of collaboration. There's something about our community, yeah? When you see someone doing something, you'll just be like, isn't that brother, isn't that sister, why should I give them money? What am I can do that one. And then you go and do it and it's crap. Why? Because your pride got in the way of greatness. That other person's better than you at that thing. But because of whatever thing, you've decided that, no, I'm going to put myself in front of it. I think, I forgot who said this, but someone said it's better to have a part of something than to have the whole of nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So be willing to drop the pride and collaborate and have that thing where you're better at this, let's see what we can do together. And I don't know if it's about cultural trauma, but a lot of us come from like the blocks, a lot of us come from not the wealthiest background, and so there's this like real wanting of money needs to be in my pockets. But your wanting for money in your pockets is stopping money entering in your family's pockets in the future, because you're saying you want to get paid this amount right here and today, and you don't realize, wait, if I just calm down and just do this small thing, it can snowball into something much greater. And that's what business is. It's about relationships. It's about partnerships. It's about being willing to just give some leeway on this one, because you know, if I know this person, who knows what can happen 2 years from now, and that will just upturn everything. So drop your pride. I think that's the biggest thing.
I concur with what's been said already, and I think I'd just add, I had to count my fingers because I forget so quickly. But number one, I think rate yourself. The reason I say rate yourself when it comes to the field of creativity is that, and I think both of you would have the same perspective coming from the world of marketing, like advertising. In advertising, I feel like in advertising, you see in the backroom process, the ideas are actually pitched that eventually become some of these massive multi-million-pound campaigns. Start off with such a simple genesis. Yeah. It might just be like, let's have some girl wearing headphones and vibing. And then they just put a Pinterest together and it looks all right. And then that becomes, after many stages, what becomes such a beautiful campaign that you see from Beats or whoever, so on and so forth. Well, a lot of working class and black and diverse and young creatives don't appreciate that the ideas that you have in your bedroom, the ideas that you have sketching, the ideas that you have in the shower, the ideas that you have while going for a jog, if you had the right resources, or if you made the right resources and opportunities for yourself, can pop like never before. And a lot of the communities and the creatives that are out here, it's not because they had some leg up on you or something like that. It's just because they had the confidence and the resilience and the persistence with that idea to keep pushing it forward. And that's how it managed to get the traction that it deserved. So no one in some studio or even the beloved Canva that we're in has an idea that's inherently better than yours. There's no such thing. You just need to back your idea. So I'm going to do the last 2 points.
Good.
The second point was ecosystem. You already kind of said it, but this whole industry works on favors. And like and it's a metaphor for life. I'm Nigerian. Like growing up, my mom's always been asking, uncle, can you drop me at the airport? Or can you help me paint my wall? Or she sent me out to go and mow someone's lawn or something. It is what it is. And I think having that approach to your creativity and to community as well is invaluable. You might not be able to design something, but you might be good at, constructing something or speaking to someone or doing a sales process. Bring your brothers and your sisters and your friends into the tent with you and work together. Don't work in isolation. You'll find that reinventing that wheel was so pointless because there's someone that can do it that is looking for their first opportunity to put something on their portfolio or to try or have someone believe that they can do something. And you're not giving them that opportunity because you think you can do it yourself. Collaborate and do community. And the final point was around just being real. As I said earlier, this world cost of living is beating people up. People are in poverty, there's fascism, there's racism, there's all these kinds of things that are stressing people out, there's homophobia. And it's like, I feel like people are attracted increasingly to brands or to individuals or to stories that have something real to say, something that like is meaningful. You can do an event and it's a party and yay, people should come and shake bum and they leave. But what are you bringing people together for? And when they're there, what are you saying? I think that's also important. People are attracted to like meaningful interactions. That's what brings them back. I yapped a lot.
It's great, amazing. There's so much that you all said that kind of sparked this idea in my head of creativity as a skill. I guess just like confidence, it's something that you can learn and unlearn, I do think. And so even just from like a human level, if we're talking about impacting the black community, I think sometimes we have to stop thinking about the black community and just think of ourselves as the creative humans that we are and can be, and just really tapping into our creativity and trying to pull that out of us and putting ourselves in more situations where we can be creative, or in every situation you are in, just trying something new, trying something different, trying to be more creative so that you can build that skill, right? My next question on that note is, what was or is or has been the most important mindset shift that has affected your creative journey?
Should I go?
Yeah.
So I think for me, the most important mindset shift had to be that what works for someone else doesn't make it the rule. I think a lot of the time, especially when you're looking at creative things, we forget that. I know I keep banging on about authenticity, but I literally live by this because I feel like a lot of the times we see someone doing something else and it's successful, it works for them, and we think that's how it's done. But the reality is, no, that's one way that it can be done. And just because you haven't done it your way yet doesn't necessarily mean that it won't work. And I had to learn this very early on. When I was first learning, because I'm self-taught as a designer, I didn't go to school for this. I studied law, so this is completely different to what I studied. But in the process of trying to learn things myself, I would look at all the people who are doing it well at the moment. And before you know it, I found myself trying to copy or trying to do things that replicated their work. But it wasn't until I realized that actually, no, people come to me because they like what I can do, not my version of what someone else can do. So I think it's just really, really important to be authentic to yourself and stop looking at other people as the rule. Yes, you can get guidance from them, you can get inspiration from them, but everybody has their own way of doing things, and there will be people who, like what you do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say learn how to sell. Like, understand sales. As a creator, so we all have different versions of creativity, right? I struggle to call myself a creative, but it's only recently that I realized that's where my work sits in. But the hardest thing that I found after being around creators is they really struggle about how do you communicate your value. How do you talk to a client and say, you actually need to pay me for this because it's not just a logo, it's your whole brand identity, it's what's going to make you stand out in a crowd. And if you're going to donate £5 to standing out in a crowd, then you're going to have a £5 business. And then how do you drop that to the client and make it hit like that? Sales is such an important skill. And the sooner you learn how to sell and package your value, the more likely you are to have, first of all, target market, target client list, and then from there you can scale your product and make even more money from it. But it all starts from understanding sales and how do you go about selling your product, your service, whatever it is that you claim to do. And every creative practice can be sold. So just figure out how you can sell yours. I think the moment I figured that out, things started. And sorry, one more thing I will say is the level of your business will only go as far as the level of your client. So if you're working with clients that the only budget that they have is the £500, the 5K, the 10K, your business will only be a 5K, 10K business. If you want to have 100K, 500K business, you need to go to the clients who have that money. And they want to talk to you because of, like you said, your unique way of doing things and the value that you have. But if you're saying, no, I'm too scared to send an email to JP Morgan, let me just do Uncle Abdul, because I know he will do my work. Then you go as far as Uncle Abdul. And Uncle Abdul is cool, but come on, man, you can do it. And so be willing to raise your level of client because that's what's going to stretch your business out.
Amazing.
I love these points. You guys, this panel is teaching me as well. I think there's 2 points here that I want to bring up. I think number one is the idea about making your own opportunities. And the reason I said that is because I've been rejected from so many grants. Like grants, schemes, programs, you name it. I've been up and down. I've put back-breaking hours into all these applications. And I kept thinking, my business is so fire, like, it's such a good idea. Why am I not winning these applications? And it was really like hampering my ability to do some of my ideas. I was like, I have this sick idea, I just need someone to give me 5K to do it. I need a fund or a grant or whatever to give me the money to do this. Eventually it got to the point where I was like, let me just do it, right? And just do it myself and do like it might not be the same level of investment. It might be more like a proof of concept version of ideas, but just doing the stuff and starting and not using the lack of investment or the lack of fund or lack of someone else co-signing you to co-sign yourself. You kind of just need to co-sign yourself, do your thing, build it, and try the idea out. If the idea doesn't work, in that process you've learned so much from the mistakes and everything that you've made and the connections and the lessons that you've learned. That is so much more valuable than delaying to wait for someone else to give you money. And then even then, I had a pivotal moment where I was like, do I want Nourishment to be like a CIC? Do I want it to be a charity? Or do I want it to be a business? And a lot of my people around me were kind of saying, oh, you make it a CIC or a charity. It's easier to get grants. But I kept thinking, but this idea is so fantastic that I know that we can be achieving revenue. Like I know we can make profit on this. And I'm so happy I saw it as something that could become a business instead of a charity because we've got a few grants here and there. But anything that we would have made in grants, we've trebled, quadrupled in terms of the profit that we've actually made from actually just pitching and making our own opportunities and running our own events. So I'd say number one, don't see yourself as someone that has to be a recipient of someone else's cosign in order to do your own thing. Just do it, try it out, keep getting better. And yeah, I think that's my main point.
Amazing. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to move on to Q&A, but in an interesting way. Do we have time for Q&A? And do we have a mic for Q&A? That's a good question.
It's coming.
Yeah.
That was a ... you just put up there.
But just to introduce kind of what's different. So if you have anything you want to ask anyone on the panel, this is the time to do so. But also, I want to kind of pose a question to you guys, which is, what is one action that you can take to stand firmer in your creative power, based on what you've heard today, or just any thoughts that are going through your head?
Thank you, guys. That was a really wonderful set of ideas that you guys just came out. And it's going to be showing already. And I appreciate it. And what I wanted to ask, and I kind of wanted to drill kind of more into what you were saying, and kind of your story together as well. And you know when they always say you need to put 10,000 hours? Mm-hmm. Yeah? So when a person is like, I don't know, 60,000 hours, nothing's really kicking from them, like you said, I don't know how you tend to be the 500 and 5,000 clients and you're trying to elevate yourself to the next level. I know part of it is positioning. I mean, that's the reason why I think you guys, positioning is important, which is something I work for. But it's a case where I have proven my capability in business. I have done for businesses, I've shown them, I've done that. And for me to go to the next level, I do need resources to get there. Even though I want to do it myself, but there's only one person, like, to do everything, or like, even if I get some projects I've been tired, some people to come in. The process I'm trying to ask in this whole long process is this. What did you guys do, and what did you guys do, and how did you get to that moment when you got that one big client that changed it? That client, you know, when you cross that line, you're like, I ain't charging the 500 no more. Mm-hmm. Like, how did you cross that line, and how did you leverage on that? If you don't mind.
There are a couple things that you said there. So one thing I'm going to say is you sell your dream to your clients. You also sell your dream to the people who work under you or with you. And that's important because there's going to be a time when you're strapped as a business and you still need resource and you still need time and you still need people. Your ability to sell your dream to those people will allow them to donate time and resource to you when you can't find it yourself. And that will allow you to do things outside of the two things that your hands can do. And I know it's a scary thing to say, hey, work for me for free. Fair enough. But you'd be surprised what people are willing to do when they've invested in your dream. And that's, as a founder, that's part of your job, to sell your dream, and people will invest in it, and you'll be surprised. Your question was, how did you get that first big client, and then all of that? I was doing a lot of 3D rendering work, and I showed it to a couple of universities because they were trying to do some okay, I'm gonna get a bit nerdy here, but they were trying to do some LiDAR visualizations, which when you use lasers in order to create 3D models. And I was I saw that work, I was like, hey, I made this, I found this data online, hey, take a look at it, take a look at it, take a look at it. And these professors was just like, oh my gosh, this guy is crazy. I heard about this thing, have you heard about it? I was like, no. And then they pointed me to someone, and there was this guy who just got a lot of money from this investor, who's one of the founders of Twitter, and they were trying to map the ocean floor. And they saw the work I did in 3D rendering. I was just like, what else do you do? And then I told them about my business. And they were just like, okay, work with me. I was like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, no, I'll be your client. How much do you need? I'll give it to you. We'll figure it out. That paid for a year of runway for me, which allowed me to then take risks and start pitching to more people. And so it was literally just me doing work and giving it out there to people who found it valuable, and they connected to the dots for me. So that was big. That changed the level of zeros of my clients in a dramatic way. So I think that one's the key one. My first breakthrough, though, it was literally I went to a conference and I chatted to a brother, and then I asked some questions on a panel. He was just like, you ask good questions, huh? I was like, oh, thank you. And then we connected, and then at the time I was shifting jobs, and he was like, do you still work at that company? I was like, no. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I want you. And that was my first bread-winning thing that started, and since then we've just been scaling. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Can I just add something as well? I think it's important to think of your business as more than what it is now. I think sometimes I see a lot of founders who they feel stuck in this. I'm just going to use the 5K client model. That has to happen within you and your company to be able to pitch with that confidence that will get you those clients. Yeah, just to add on to this.
I think as well, just to add, because just for a bit of context, so when I first started designing, I was literally trying to give away my services for free, like begging people, hey, let me make your logo, and they were saying no, right? And I think over time, obviously I've come a long way from there now, but I think part of it was, one, understanding my value, but also understanding how people perceive my value. Because at the time when I first started, I was just a graphic designer, right? I was making a logo here, logo there, and then that was it, right? But when I started doing branding, I was actually able to identify the solutions that I would be giving people. So a lot of the clients that I got that turned out to be large clients were clients who before were telling me their budget was small. But when you sell the solution to someone and you make them realize that actually without me, you're not going to achieve your goals, or without me, you're going to struggle to get there as quickly, you're actually solving the problem. And I know we always hear people say, solve the problem. But from a branding perspective as well, this is also something that I teach my clients. A lot of people don't know who their target audience is.
Yeah.
The amount of people who come to me and say, yeah, I want to sell to men 50 to 60, and yeah, they live in Berkshire. That is not enough. You don't know anything about them. I could probably segment that into 100, if not thousands of different groups. So I think part of it is being able to perceive you, to show your value and make sure that people perceive it as that, but also to actually know who you want to sell to and know them in depth. Because anybody that comes to you, they're going to have a pain point. And that pain point is worth more than the money that they're going to have to part with. I'm not saying everybody has the money, everybody does.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that have said, listen, I really want this service, is there a payment plan we can do? Is there installments, that sort of thing? Because people find a way to make it work when they really want something, right? So, I mean, just look at everybody when they buy their new phone. How many people are buying it outright, but they still find a way to get it? So, yeah, that's just from a branding perspective.
Can I just say one thing? One really, really quick thing. Wording is so important. It's so simple. You don't, even if you don't invest in a whole branding thing, just maybe figure out the words that you need to use. Because I remember there was one client that I had, because I told them data visualization, they're just like, oh, you make charts. I was like, okay, yeah, I can make charts, but I can also make a whole web thing. But they didn't hear that, they just heard charts. It was until I changed the words to creative developer, then it was like, oh, so you can build. And I was like, yes, give me your money. So yeah, wording is so important.
And I think, sorry, just to add to that as well, I think that's a really important part. This is sort of what I mean when I say know your audience, right? Because everybody speaks in their own language. And if I start speaking to you in Spanish, you're probably not going to understand unless any of you speak Spanish, right? So I think when you say about wording, I think it's really important because the words that we used to sell to this person, they might not understand, but these people might be like, yeah, 100%, this is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Should we do one more? Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Okay, great.
I'm Sandy. In your lowest moments, what actually kept you guys going? And how do you come back from that and not lose yourself?
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I answer? I'll be honest. I actually came out of one of my lowest moments recently. And the thing that kept me going was my community. I think community is so underrated now and community is so misunderstood. True community for me is the people that you can rely on when you can't even rely on yourself. It's the people that you go to when you forget who you are. That's your community. The people who you don't even have to reach out to because they're like, hold on, something is wrong here. I'm gonna do something about it. That is community. Like you were saying, Tito, about favors. I think we look at favors like they're a negative thing. They're negative if you're counting them. Right? Just people who help each other. And so honestly, whenever I'm low, and I'm so blessed because of the community I've been able to build with the female founders I work with, that it's to a point where no matter what I'm going through, there's always someone who's like, okay, but what you're doing is great. Okay, but there's more for you over this amount of time. Okay, but all you need to do is just maybe take a step back, look at it from a different lens, and come back to the table. But you need people who are engaged with you. Right now, especially as business owners, entrepreneurs, all that, we are shown that visibility is important, but it's almost like we're encouraged to use each other. It's all shallow, the way that we network and make connections, and no one actually gets to know each other, so no one actually gets to ask for help and gets the help they want. So my encouragement to make sure that you're in a position where you can get out of like harder places is to just make more friends. Like, have more genuine conversations. Go to networking events, but don't go trying to find this person that can help you solve this issue. Just talk to people. And you'll be surprised how many of those people become your foundation and help you get to the places that you've always dreamed of. That's just my 2 pence. Do you guys want to answer?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I loved what you just said as well. Don't forget about horizontal networking, because you're always looking for a big bro or a mentor or investor or whoever. But the people next to you, at least if you've curated the environments that you're in properly, the people next to you are so incredible. Like, they're so incredible. If you yourself are incredible, then of course your network is incredible, right? And like, I think I was saying recently to my friend, I'm so happy that I've maintained some relationships as I got older, because seeing how some people have blossomed, it's like Pokemon, the way they've evolved. It's real beautiful, and it's sick because I get a lot of perks now. But what was I going to say? I think on the question of lowest moments, I had a dark time, like late 2023. I had an original co-founder of my business, and we just, if anyone that's done the co-founder thing, they know it gets, especially if that co-founder is your friend, it gets tense, it was dark. So we ended up going separate ways, and the whole idea of the business was suddenly in question. And I was really sad. And I remember thinking, like, is this how it kind of ends? Like, I've been quiet, I'm not posting on socials, I'm not posting on the business socials, I'm not doing events. Does anyone care? Like, no one's popping up. Like, maybe people don't miss it. Maybe all of this that I thought I built was kind of a fantasy. I think 2 main things kind of brought me out of the dark place. Number 1 was that I love my business. I love Nourishment. And like, even I couldn't not. I realized that even when I wasn't doing it, I was still doing it. And it was like, even when people would ask me like, so what do you do? The words were trying to burst from my mouth. Even if I didn't say nourish, I wanted to say community. I wanted to say marketing. I wanted to say creativity. So I think one important thing to bring out of your low place is do something that you actually love. If you're doing what you love, or at least you like it a lot, then it's almost like an irrepressible force that pulls you back to doing it. I can't stop doing events if I wanted to now. I think I'm locked in. Even if I wanted to pivot business, someone could offer me, maybe it was a lot of money, but they could offer me a lot of money, and I'd be like, I'd rather be where my peoples are. And I think the second point I would say, on that first point, if you're doing something that you love that brings you validation, that makes you feel better about yourself, like, it's kind of like gym. Your business can also be the creative impact and legacy and portfolio and works that just make you feel proud. And I think that kept bringing me back. And number 2, similar to what was said, I think it was also the people and impact. And I had built a beautiful, wonderful team of people that believed in me. It was 4 people at the time. And when I was quiet for too long, they were like, yo, what's going on? When are we getting back to work? People are asking me. I have ideas. And it felt nice to know that even if I wanted to rest, they wouldn't let me rest. Yeah. That I had to build an organization and continue to make the people around me proud. So I felt a duty to my team, and I felt a duty to the young people and the people that routinely came to my events or followed my page or asked me, how's Nourishment doing? You haven't told me what to go check out in the theater. You haven't told me where I should be going. You haven't given me some inspiration for my Instagram save folder, So a long answer, but do something you love, and then it will bring you out of any slump. And also have people, or find people that appreciate what you do, because you'll want to continue to make them proud. I think those are 2 reasons.
Do you mind if Sandy? Yeah. I don't know where you are in your journey. I'll try and be quick and I just say, but 3 things, right? And they're from different parts of my journey. So before I did this one, I used to do Facebook ads for real estate agents. That's when I lived in America. That was my first business, quote unquote. And I was running it and it was going, and then suddenly clients were just like, after I did work for them, they were just like, sorry, we're not gonna pay you. I was like, what? Like, no, we're not gonna do that, bye. And he just aired me. I was like, ah. And then bills were coming. The roof of my parents' house got ripped off. So I had to take a loan to go and send money to Nigeria to go and fix their roof. My girlfriend was doing bills were coming. And I just felt so alone and so stressed. And it was raining too. I don't know what was going on. It was just a lot. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just go to church. Let me just go. So I just drove to church randomly. I get in there. They just so happened to have a baby christening. This couple, they were talking about their baby. She almost died. My wife almost died. But I thank God they're all alive. And you know what we decided to name our child? Hope. That smile that I smiled that day, all of the weights on my shoulders just... So God, for me as a Christian, God is very important. Even if you don't have that, having a faith that greater is still to come helps a lot. And so that was at the beginning. A bit midway, so I was running my business, and at the same time I was running partnerships division within my previous company. And I just decided to leave that company to go full-time because it was making sense. And the week I left my company, my mom collapsed in hospital. She had everything, malaria, sepsis, She was unconscious. I was just like, Chai, God, what's going on? Who's today, this week? Why not next week? Allow, you know? I was very close to going and begging for my job back. But I didn't. And I continued. And thank God I did, because the work that I ended up doing ended up paying for her to be able to come to England and us getting her healthcare. Now she's more than fine. We had some very serious conversations though. But what that taught me is, as low as you are, perseverance and consistency in work is paramount. Your feelings shouldn't dictate the level of consistency in your work, because your ability to stay grounded and doing the thing no matter what is what will create opportunity later on. And with that perspective, what is actually going on? Because sometimes your feelings magnify the nonsense. You're feeling bad, but because of how bad you're feeling, it's now, I'm in the worst place in the world. Take some time to sit back, speak out. What is actually happening? Are you homeless? Is it just that money's not coming? Can you go back home? Like, what can you actually do? And speak it out, because there's a power in speaking the truth. It just lights up your surroundings and it actually allows you to understand how to move. And that will allow you to move forward. So yeah, for me, faith, perspective, and consistency. Yeah.
Amazing.
Hey, my name's Izzy. Thank you guys for the wisdom and shares so far. My question is for you. It's about the power of authenticity. It's a word that we hear all the time, sometimes even a buzzword. But from your perspective, how does one go about recognizing the authenticity? And then also, how can they present that authentic self to others and in the work that they do?
I think that's a really great question, because you're right. I think it is used as a buzzword quite frequently, and it's like resilience and authenticity. There's all these words that people just love to say. But I think a lot of it is about really understanding what that word actually means. Because I think a lot of people try to be authentic by copying something that they saw someone do on Instagram that made that person seem authentic. And I think for me personally, I really had to look at myself and understand almost how much of myself was what I'd copied or taken from other people, and how much was genuinely what I wanted to do. So, for example, when I was trying to get this Sky collaboration, I remember when I first said, I'm going to go to Sky because I feel like I can do it. Already it took a while for me to, actually convince myself that that was possible. Mm-hmm. But I told someone, and this is also why you need to have great people in your community, like we said, mm-hmm. because at the time, the person responded to me and said, oh, but you're going to need to cover your tattoos and, take out your piercings so that you can go and be in corporate space. And for a split second, I was like, maybe I should. And then I was like, no. Because if you have to change yourself, if you have to change the way that you show up and what you are comfortable with being, then you're already not being authentic.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't feel true to you, if something doesn't feel natural to you, then maybe that's a question that you have to ask yourself, am I really being authentic in this moment?
Yeah.
Because funnily enough, when I went into Sky, I had my tattoos out on show. I said, I'm going to show them extra because I don't want a situation where you think I don't have them and then you see them and then you start looking at me differently.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just more about saying, however I feel comfortable, you know, however I dress, however I look, whatever my hair is. Like, I usually have bright blonde hair. Like, I stand out in a crowd, right? But if someone's not willing to accept me the way that I show up or the way that I feel comfortable presenting myself, the chances are I wouldn't want to work with them. So I think the main question that I would say to really understand authenticity is, do I actually feel comfortable? Is this naturally me? Am I speaking a certain type of way to be accepted, or do I have acceptance of myself? And a little like sidebar, but I'm currently studying to be a psychotherapist. So all of this stuff about the way the brain works, but all the way that the brain works, it really, really interests me. And there's this concept of something called incongruence. And what incongruence basically means is, are you doing something to not be judged? Are you doing something because you want other people to look at you and say, well done? Or are you doing it because you've already accepted internally that this is fine regardless of what anyone else thinks?
Yeah.
And I think since learning that as well, it's really, thank you. Yeah. So since learning that, it's really made me kind of look at the behaviors that I do exhibit and say, am I doing this because I want someone else to applaud me? Or am I doing this so that I can applaud myself? And I think if the answer is that you want someone else to applaud you, you're probably not being your authentic self. Yeah.
Enough said.
Anybody else want to ask a question?
We will take one last question. Us and ask our panelists. Oh, we've got two. There's someone else. Okay, we're going to do this how we did our last event. We're going to take both questions at the same time, and between the four of you, we're lined up who wants to answer which question. So we'll start with this one.
My question relates to a bit about authenticity as well, but I just wanted to know, in your journey, have you ever been in a situation where something doesn't align with your morals or values, or even like your religious beliefs, and how did you deal with that?
So I think in my specific work that I do, I get brands and companies of all...
I think you wanted to ask them both.
Oh, my bad.
Is it?
My bad.
Just hold it.
My question is, for an artist who is very multi-hyphenate and can go different pathways and can feel a sense of paralysis because it's like, I could be doing producing, I could be doing community building, I could be writing, which is like my first love, and I could do different things. How do you streamline your focus? There's practical things that I can do. I'm a Christian, so I can pray about it. But there's also sort of like, I'd be really interested in knowing ways you guys are quite multi-hyphenate artists. How have you been able to discern, okay, this is the season to really get into my producing practice, or to my, like you're doing studying psychotherapy, all that stuff like. So that would be my question. Thank you.
How do you manage being a multi-hyphenate, and how do you stay authentic to yourself when things work may be contradictory to your morals? Between the four, we to answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So to answer your question first, I think I was saying that in my line of work, you get things that you're thinking, what on earth is this every single day? But I've just learnt to say no. And I think that's actually a big part of having a strong brand, the fact that you have non-negotiables and you have morals that you stand on. And if something doesn't align, you can say no to that opportunity knowing that other things will come that are more aligned with you. I think it's when you're scared to say no because you're worried about whether or not something else is going to happen, that's when you start to waver. But what's that saying? If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So as difficult as it is, you just have to learn to say no and have faith that your work or your business holds enough value that other people who are more aligned will find you. And I think in terms of doing more than one thing, I do so many things. and I've also got ADHD, so when I start something, the chances are I'm not going to really finish it. But I've learned that me liking doing multiple things is also one of the things that makes me very well-rounded in everything else that I do. So, for example, I will do, this program, I will do graphic design, I also like to knit, I also like to draw, I'm also training to be a psychotherapist, and the list goes on and on. My sister will tell you, I've got a new thing every single week, right? But I think I know what my strengths are, and one of my strengths is being able to segment those things and saying, okay, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do that, Wednesday I'm going to do this. I will be honest, it doesn't always follow that schedule. Sometimes something pops up. But I think we've been told for so long that a jack of all trades is a master of none, but that's not the full saying. And it is very possible to do everything that you want to do, just organize it in a way that allows you to do it. And for me, personally, I actually find that works better for me because I do get bored, So one day I want to be seeing all my therapy clients. The next I want to be building a brand. The next I want to be, knitting a blanket. Who knows, right? But yeah, I think just make time for it and don't shy away from that because that's part of what makes you great.
Yeah, go ahead. Did you? I was just going to do a quick little answer to both of them. I feel like on question one, because the nature of what my brand does is events and content. Also, I forgot to say when I was introducing myself, my background before doing Nourishment and alongside Nourishment is I work in consulting. I do brand consulting, marketing consulting, and I used to work in advertising. So I worked as a brand strategist for 3 years. Those skills are really useful in running and doing events, community, and content because it basically means saying no is so important because obviously I think what you said about creative scarcity is really important as well. Going from a mindset that this is, I only have this one idea, or this is only going to be one opportunity, to a creative abundance mindset, where it's like, I'm so wavy, I'm so sick with my thinking, that even if this idea is dead, I have millions of other ones that are coming to you. But on the topic of authenticity and in places of contradiction with morality, I think when you're doing events or you're doing a brand that has community around it, people watch you, and you have to really appreciate that you're being watched a lot more than what you think. People watch you. The following count is always different to how many people are going to like your post, of course, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that everyone that follows you didn't see it. Just because they didn't like it or engage with it doesn't mean they didn't see it. And with what we've done in my brand, we made sure that things about overly posts containing alcohol or too much alcohol, posts that were like overly sexualized or overly like romantic or anything like that, things that emphasized nightlife and, even though I'm an outside person, but like being overly outside, we were wary with in favor of promoting consistently at every chance and avenue a more wholesome, inclusive, young and just like self-expressive audience. And because of that, we have a lot of trust that we've built over the course of 4 or 5 years that we've been operating. And it feels my brand is like a safe space for young women, a safe space for the LGBTQ community, and like just whoever, like working class people, to come without feeling like it's going to be that type of vibe that they don't necessarily want. So I'd say, and that's not to say that alcohol brands haven't tried to be featured, apart from one, but we know the ethos behind that one. Be careful with when it comes to saying no, because that trust that you build with your audience about what you don't tolerate is what brings them and keeps them coming, and also allows you to find way more aligned clients or way more aligned sponsors or way more aligned people that will actually enjoy the culture that you're trying to build. And on the second question, which was around multi-hyphenate, I have ADHD too, which is common for founders, right? It's hard. I'd say the trick I found, to-do list, number one, calendar, number two, because if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. And if it's not on the to-do list, it doesn't exist. Those two things. But also number three, I think finding hobbies that, I think with Nourishment, what I really liked is that through the business, I could lean on different sides of it to always get like different sides of my creativity stimulated. So yeah, we do, I'm the founder, but sometimes I can do more. I want to make a short film. and I direct and Figma and mood board and find a shot list, etc., etc., and make the content that I want to make, and then just direct it. Or sometimes it's like I want to do set design at an event that I'm running, so I do a lot more research. So I'd say if you have an overarching business or hobby or interest, there are ways within it that you can still emphasize different things, but you're still going in the same direction. You're still driving the business forward, but you're not risking your energy going in all different places. You're still driving forward, but you're learning different things or developing, satisfying different interests at the same time. So I'd say find a way of pushing all in the same direction, even when you're doing different things. Because I find that with us ADHDers sometimes, we have so much energy and so much creative potential, but then we're doing one thing, then another thing, then another thing, then another thing, then another thing. And all of a sudden, a year or two has passed, and you're still at beginner or baby steps and everything, whereas just that direction is really, really helpful. That's me.
Bros, I think your question has been answered, right? Okay, calm. So I'll focus on your one. So I would say, pick one, start. Pick one, start. You're Christian, so I'm going to go from faith. God maneuvers a moving vehicle. So even if you're going in the wrong direction, he can point you in the right one. But if you're standing still, what does he have to maneuver? You're just standing there like a plant. You're not a plant. Human being. Move. Writer. Me too. Writer. Poet. I did a campaign with TFL where I did poetry across trains. Skits. I used to do skits and dances on stage. Rah, 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 rah. I started off doing skits and all that, but as soon as I realized I'm not really the social media savant that all of people are. So I can't look at a mic and do this. But guess what? I'm an amazing host because of my ability to interact with an audience. And so that's where that skill goes. Poetry, we did the campaigns and all that, but guess what? Writing poems at 2 a.m. for a thing the next day is difficult for me. But poetry makes me a really strong writer. So when a client wants some written word alongside whatever they're doing, I can come up with words like that. It also really helped with advertising. I was a really great copywriter as a result of it. Coding, I can code until midnight sun. So I'm willing, that's what I focused on, because my whole thing was I wanted the work that I do that brings me bread to be the thing that I can be doing at 2 a.m. and be okay that it's 2 a.m. You get? So that's why I now focus, and everything becomes an attachment to that. And what clients usually do is when they ask you to do one thing, if they like what you did for them, they'll usually say, hey, can you also do this one for me? Can you also ba 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 ba? I got into motion graphics as a hobby, and I started doing some small shorts. A client saw it and was just like, oh, can you do that, sort of explain a video for us now too? I was like, I just do it for fun. It's not a real thing. It's okay. We have a small amount of budget. Just do it for us. Boom. That's the thing. So first start with one. And you're going to go along with it. Sooner or later, you're going to figure out, actually, this is tiring. I just want this to be for fun. Then you move on to your next one. Then you move on to your next one. And you don't know how they'll all come, but move. That's the most important one, move. Yeah.
I guess to end, I'll just answer as well. So I'll start with you. Jumping off of what Obinna was saying, it's a really good idea to kind of evaluate what is for fun and what is to like make you money or you want to take forward in career. Because sometimes it's just a hobby, and that's also okay. Yeah. So you might have some things that are just hobbies and some things that you're going to turn into businesses or do career-wise, etc., etc. And secondly, don't be afraid to do personal reviews. Like whether it's some people do every month, that's too much for me, but like every 3 months maybe, like review where you're at with everything that you're doing. How are you feeling about each of things? Have anything changed? Is it the fact that, maybe you were focusing more on one thing before and now actually you're going to pivot and focus more on this? You don't necessarily have to let go of anything, but also you give yourself freedom to then let go of it, right? So that's mine for you. And then in regards to things being in alignment with your values, I would say, like everyone else was saying, be okay with saying no, but also don't be scared to tell someone, I'm going to think about it and come back to you. Because sometimes we feel like we have to answer straight away, especially if we're in a mindset of, I really need this. You might make a decision that you don't actually want to make. And I've done that so many times and I've regretted it. But usually, I don't think I've ever said, let me just think about that and come back to you, and anyone's ever been like, okay, you lost the opportunity. So it's actually okay to take a step back, think about it, and come back to them. And give yourself power to do that. Yeah? But this has been a really great conversation. What do you guys think? Has it been a good conversation? Yeah. Absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful and thankful that I've been able to share this day with you guys. I also realized that we're all wearing black.
Hurrah! Yeah.
So we're all in alignment in that sense. So thank you so much, Jeffrey, for allowing us to pick up the mic and do what we do. Yeah, it's been fantastic.